Hello and welcome from Budapest. This is Hungary Reports, kicking off Public Media M1's foreign language news hour. I'm Árpád Szőci with the latest from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin. Thanks for joining us. The new leaders of the European Union are holding a summit in Brussels, and one of the main topics is climate change. Hungary's Prime Minister said that his country would indeed like Europe's economy to be carbon neutral by 2050, and he would sign on for such an agreement. But he also said that bureaucrats can't make poor people pay for it.
EU heads of state and government gathered in Brussels to discuss EU climate strategy called the European Green Deal. The European Commission has set out an action plan to neutralise Europe's carbon footprint by 2050. Hungary is ready to sign an EU climate agreement, Viktor Orbán told reporters in Brussels. The Prime Minister emphasised everyone knows that climate change is a big problem, and everyone knows that fighting it is a huge undertaking and costs a lot of money. However, the Prime Minister finds it unacceptable that the Hungarian people bear the costs of climate protection. Today's negotiations or battle from a Central European and Hungarian perspective will be about not allowing the bureaucrats in Brussels to have poor people and poor countries pay the costs of combating climate change again. Therefore, we need to get clear financial guarantees here. Those are the details that we'll discuss here, Viktor Orbán explained. Hungary agrees with the EU's ambitious climate targets, but it must be made clear that achieving these goals cannot be the result of rising energy and food prices, Gergely Gulyás said during the regular governmental briefing. 150 billion euros by 2050 means that if we divide it by 1 year and count 10 million citizens in Hungary, everyone would spend 515 euros every year, from toddlers to old people. Obviously, these costs cannot be borne by Hungarian citizens today, so the polluter pays principles must be applied, Gergely Gulyás said. He pointed out that everyone has a role to play in the green issue, and that it is right for Europe to set a good example, but at the same time the big polluters, especially the United States and China, must be involved in finding a solution.
And regarding climate change, the use of nuclear power might become a topic of contention among EU states. For example, both Hungary and the Czech Republic want the EU to support its use. Besides financial benefits, they also firmly believe that in order for Europe to be carbon neutral, you also need nuclear power plants. They say that Germany has been trying to prove that you don't need them ever since the Fukushima nuclear disaster, but with little success. Hungary has a new nuclear power plant under construction in Paks.
A symbolic horn went off at the start of construction of Paks 2 in June. For now, only billboards show how Hungary's newest nuclear power plant will look like. The standpoint of the government of Hungary is that the EU's climate targets will not be met without new nuclear power plants. Viktor Orbán called a dispute in Brussels regarding nuclear energy as highly important. He said Hungary is willing to reduce its carbon emissions, but for that, nuclear energy is necessary. We would like to put all worries aside once and for all here in Brussels regarding nuclear energy, and all criticism and attacks against countries that produce these energies, the Prime Minister said. The Czech Republic has a similar opinion. The Prime Minister of the Czech Republic agrees that the EU's climate targets cannot be reached without nuclear power. Alongside Hungary, more and more Central European countries see the solution in nuclear power. The government says reaching the climate targets cannot come with additional expenditures for Hungarian families. There are simply no mathematical calculations that allow carbon neutrality without the use of nuclear energy, the head of the Prime Minister's office said. The point of view of the government of Hungary is that EU member states should decide whether they want to produce nuclear power or not. If all countries are able to make this decision themselves, then according to calculations, Hungary will become carbon neutral much sooner than some other Western European members.
4 South Korean companies are investing a total of over 210 million euros in Hungary, creating 300 new jobs. That's what Hungary's Foreign Affairs and Trade Minister Péter Szijjártó announced in the South Korean capital, Seoul. That means that this year alone, South Korean investments amount to 2.7 billion euros, which is a record amount for Hungary. And it's all the more important considering the South Koreans bring with them state-of-the-art equipment.
Thank you for receiving it.
And Minister Szijjártó also opened a Hungarian Cultural Institute in Seoul. He said that Hungary is proud that 30 years after countries in Central Europe regained their freedom after the fall of communism, Hungary was the first to start diplomatic relations with South Korea. He also pointed out that 750 South Korean students are studying in Hungary and that soon Hungarian language studies will be offered at a university in Seoul. And in Hungary, 2 universities teach Korean. The new Hungarian Cultural Institute in Seoul is the 26th such establishment around the world. The Hungarian Central Bank has introduced a new app that can determine whether a banknote is real or counterfeit. The app has become necessary because almost half the population still pays with cash.
The specialist uses an application to see if the banknote is genuine or counterfeit. This is the latest innovation from the Central Bank of Hungary. If it would have been counterfeit, the program would have immediately detected that too. Besides examining banknotes, it is also applicable for a little game. As you can see on this 1,000 forint note, it shows the 3D graphic at the back of it, so we can virtually throw coins into the Hercules fountain of the royal palace in Visegrad, or we can enter the Basilica of Esztergom, or see Széchenyi Castle in Nagyszenki, depending on which new banknote we take a photo of with our phone. The majority of the population almost never checks banknotes. This is one of the reasons they developed this one-of-a-kind solution. This way, the chance of being tricked by counterfeit banknotes can be minimized. The watermark is the best known among security features, the professional experts said. But with the help of the smartphone application, the banknote can be identified without knowing the position of the watermark. Research at the Central Bank of Hungary shows that almost half of all Hungarians still pay by cash, which confirms the importance of the new application. The use of cash by companies is growing amongst companies too. More than 30% of them pay their employees in cash. The Forint app can't be compared to other similar applications because it doesn't use simple image recognition, but a unique algorithm developed by experts at the central bank.
The Tato Castle at Old Lake in northern Hungary was built by Zsigmond Luxemburgi in the 15th century. Today, its southern wing still stands. Many Hungarian kings used it for R&R, also enjoying the picturesque surroundings. Among the kings was Mátyás, or Matthew the Just, who had the building converted to Renaissance style. However, it was also an important tactical point and changed owners and occupiers a number of times. The Kuni Domokos Museum has been operating on its premises since 1974, offering temporary and permanent exhibitions. And in Szombathely, in the west of the country, an added feature is its Christmas market, a Ferris wheel. The Szombathely Eye is 50 meters high and offers a great view of the county seat. Many of those at the top of this attraction are higher than 10-story buildings, also giving you a good glimpse of the city. Organizers say it's worthwhile to try it out night and day. And that's all for now, but don't forget you can catch Hungary Reports every night after the 11 p.m. Hungarian news and online as always. Please stick around if you can for our German, Russian, and Chinese language news. Thanks very much for watching and minden jót!